So welcome back, everyone. And today being a revered day, auspicious day, especially for a culture which has predominantly retained a spiritual outlook to life as a choice to follow. It is fast losing itself, but that is really not so essential. Following such days, celebrating such days, remembering such days helps ignite the values, the principles, the knowledge, the paramparas, the disciplines, so many such things that make a spiritual life or that make a life spiritual. So a day like this, even when other days one tends to become a little dhila dhala, becomes a little preoccupied with other things, such a day helps us to remember our goals, our ideals, our pursuits, something symbolic of a higher representation. So it is actually, if we look back, it is most in Eastern philosophy, Buddhism, Jainism, Hinduism, at least that much I am aware of, that there is a divinization of this relationship, a divinization of this interaction, a divinization of this pursuit, because the goal is kept firm, the goal being divine, the goal being the highest. Whichever religion approaches it also, most of us, except for these Eastern that I have just mentioned, we may take God as absolute, we may take just service as a part, but it is here that you will see the uniqueness of why a festival, I am calling it a festival. Why is a festival like this? Namaste.
जय कर रही है जय जय कर दो
Jai, 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 Jai Shri,
हाय कर दो हाय
Jai Shri.
ओके
So a
she's
day
done
like this that we remember that a parampara is held. You know how a family tradition is held, father, child, father, child, father, child. It is a tradition held. It is a value structure held. In the same way, a tradition is held as Guru Shishya, Shishya becomes Guru, Shishya. So this tradition, which is in Advaita vision, understood as impossible to get knowledge without there having been a live form of an interaction, a live presence of a person who conveyed the knowledge to us. So this is that day which helps us to reconnect all of this, and as Advaitins, only to that important tradition which keeps the knowledge available in every generation. It's something very, very, it's magnitude. The more one thinks, the more is in awe of, because it's not conceivable to us how a tradition has held itself in spite of knowing that world is a world of change. A tradition is still held. So I'll just do a very small one verse prayer as a Guru Vandana to the lineage. It's a very popular thing done. It's more verses. I'll just do one verse. Akhanda mandalakaram vyaptam yena characharam tatpadam darshatam yena tasmai shri gurave. So with this, we will start today's class. There are very good questions that have come up. Unless until admin wants to please reveal themselves, I think I do get an idea who you are. Maybe you should exit the class, but it's up to you. There is questions that have come from Akanksha and I was planning to address them today. She's not here, but I'll still take them up because she may follow the class in recording. To go ahead would mean these questions are from topics we have covered so far. The first question she has, there she joins. The first question she has asked is, when we think of the devatas of the Antakarana, very relevant questions, all three of them are. When we think of the devatas of the Antakarana, does their upasana or japa help to strengthen or eliminate that aspect? Example, could astrologically recommended japa of Chandradev help to strengthen a vacillating mind, or japa of Shivji help to remove ahankar? And is there a similar relationship here between japa of Vasudev / Sri Krishna and the Chit? If so, how could this help us in establishing Atma Gyan? So the question is, when we said Brahman plus Maya, and this is manifested as Ishvara, and Ishvara is further each into a Devata, which is the total power of the sense organs respectively, and the Antakarana. So, how does japa or upasana, firstly, what is its role is the question. Does it strengthen the senses, make them more stronger, make them more powerful because you are worshipping the respective deities? So are the deities strengthening the organs of perception, organs of action, your Antakarana, Mano, Buddhi? That's right, Akanksha, I'm getting your question right so far?
Yes, Titiji, absolutely.
Okay. Or will the japa and upasana or whichever other form of that worship you take to those respective devatas help to eliminate the antakaranam or the senses? This is a question. And basically, what you see as japa, upasana, or any of the actions, you see them in the realm of actions. They're karmas. Upasana is a mental karma, manasa karma. Japa can be manasa, vachika, and with the help of a bead, you can even make it a physical, loud repetition. So you have, if you involve puja with japa, becomes a physical action. The idea of introducing devatas is that you are now doing karma. Karma is of two kinds. Because this karma is not centered on anything laukik, devatas are alaukik, and as we will see now, because they have Maya Upadhi, they have unlimited power, pure power. So you are generating a karma towards an object which is not limited in their nature, completely, in that sense of karma. The karmas can be done with two attitudes within yourself. sakama and nishkama. If you do japa, upasana or any karma to the same devata with sakama drishti, sakam means desire ridden. Having a desire behind that, having a desire, motive, intention to get something because of which you're doing the karma. It's like if I work in a company, I can work in a company to get money, power, whatever. That means I have an agenda. I have a purpose. It's not right or wrong. It is. In the same way, I can do these pujas, japas, any of the karmas with an idea to get something. Because after all, they have all power. So I can put a plead. If I do this, give me this. I'm going to do this. Maybe. I still don't know whether I'll be graced with it or not, but I can give it a try because apne aap se kiya hua to I'm not getting it. So human beings have this extra gift to tap into the total source, total power. And human beings can experience helplessness. So prayers, when done sakama, have absolutely the same methodology of fructification like you would when you work for anything else in drishta realm, laukik realm, worldly realm. Here, both places the results are uncertain. You don't know. So many times you do Sola Somvar and Patani kya they tell you to do. And now Shravan Maas has started. So there's going to be a whole lot of pujas and rituals. Shravan Maas is there. So it's a vast topic. I'm going to only touch to the question that you have asked. But it's a fantastic topic in itself, completely separate, can be addressed. Now, when you worship Sakama Drishti, it is not that you can ask at that time, hey Bhagwan, give me more intellect. You can. That means you're now strengthening your equipment. When you worship Surya Devta, you say, hey Bhagwan, let my buddhi shine. That means I know I have a equipment, but I also know that I am not polishing it enough. This kind of a prayer is actually, though you're asking for yourself, you can also ask, say, I pray to Saraswati, give me knowledge. I pray to Lakshmi, say, give me wealth. Now, there is something you're asking for. Asking for anything is not wrong in our drishti, in Vedic drishti. Bhagwan is there, Ishwar is there, deities are, doesn't matter. You ask if you want. If it is to be fulfilled, it will be fulfilled. If it is not to be fulfilled, any amount of asking will not fulfill it anyway. So for your own thing, you can invoke an extra karma to tilt the balance to your favor, to whatever you've done in the past. It can add into that, and maybe your taraju tilts towards giving you what you want. The other way of doing the same karma is nishkama karma, which is actually what all Vedic pujas were meant for. They start with that. When they ask you to take sankalpa, they say in that sankalpa before any karma, Mama Ishwara Prityartham. Prityartham means I am doing this karma to develop a priti for Ishwara, to develop a fondness for this highest, to develop a relation with the highest, to develop an attachment, to develop a devotion to the priti banni chahiye. Because unless you have a fondness for the highest, your mind is not going to be held steady on it. So actually all karmas were meant to be nishkam. But sakamata is also acceptable. Nishkama karma means I am doing that karma without expecting anything. Prityartham means it is automatically got the gift of bringing me closer to the highest. If I don't ask for anything, what will I get out of this karma? I will get my association with the highest, more firmer, more stronger. So I will have a greater vritti around a form, around a alaukik aspect of life that already is ingrained in the karma. So the idea of devatas is only in the realm of karma, sakam, nishkam. But good question is, ending what you said, how does this help us in establishing Atma Gyan? Now this aspect of karma, when done nishkam, it slowly matures the mind, gives us chitta shuddhi that we saw, endows us with, it matures in us, viveka, vairagya, shamadamadi, shatakam. You find yourself at some point down the line that you have it. You did not directly work on it, but you already have it. So all this realm of karma, when done nishkam, they develop chitta shuddhi. So in that aspect, they are eliminators of their specific raga dveshas that they induce. My eyes have the fascination to see things. My ears have a liking for sounds. My tongue has a affinity for taste, smell. So our senses have their own affinity grounds, which keep the mind strongly attached to them. And we keep our identity and our life floating between these interactions of the senses. So when we do this, when Vedas tell us, big part of it is this, through Nishkama Karma, you develop certain amount of Chitta Shuddhi and Chitta Ekagrata through Upasanas. Then comes Vedanta, Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. Then means not in that order, but to the extent you have understood, got Shravanam, Mananam, now your mind can equate what is the nature of Devata, what is the nature of the Jiva. That portion we are going to come to now. So automatically the Devata no longer is a form. To Advaitin already the Devata has become that unmanifest total power, which is a fact. I don't have to tap it every time. It is a fact. I can be in perception of it, internal perception of it. I know the presence of the total power, and that has resulted in gaining certain amount of nishtha, absorption of the Vedantic principle, of the Vedantic view that you are Brahman. So Devata no longer remains a separate powerful entity. It is automatically merged. This portion we will be starting now, so you will get a better clarity from here onwards for this. This much fine? Okay. The second question was, the Jagat model of creation helped us understand the matter that which Sthula and Sukshma Sharir are made of. We know Karana Sharir is avidya, but is there any matter that Karan Sharir is comprised of too? In other words, Sthula and Sukshma Sharir is, we've seen, coming from Maya. Maya is matter, so it is matter evolutes. But Sthula Sukshma Sharir come from Karan Sharir. So is Karan Sharir also coming from some more subtler matter? Is the question, right? Yeah. This is the important base on which the entire Vedantic vision is founded. That Karan Sharir is not matter. Karan Sharir is a misperception, avidya. And avidya is not material. It is just not knowing. So Karan Sharir is not, doesn't have a material cause. Karan Sharir, if any cause you want to say, itself is avidya. They are actually synonyms of each other. As long as avidya is there, your Sukshma Sharir means your identity of yourself as a limited being. Who will further now identify with this limited body? Further into limitation. So the entire realm of crossification happens. Is that fine? Third question. I have understood the concept of jiva. But when one thinks of it in relation to the three states and their experiencers, one wonders whether in the waking state and dream state, is jiva the same as Vishwa and is jiva the same as Vishwa and Taijasa in those respective states? So in other words, jiva and Vishwa and Taijasa, are they all the same terms? Means with their respective soul. So probably what you're asking is, Vishwa is also jiva and Taijasa is also jiva. That's right? That's what you're asking? Yeah. Yes. Fundamentally, it is all jiva. The definition has come. Anyone who's identified with the sthula part of it is now specifically, isliye, that's why called a jiva, because it's a very general term. But when the terms come Vishwa and Taijasa, now jiva has a further specification. When there'll be a, like Mandukya Upanishad will talk about the Vishwa Taijasa Aikyam. Even in this book, he's going to now start that part of it. So those words start having a significance because they're equating one of the microcosm to one of the macrocosm. And jiva means a general term. Anybody who's identified with a sthula sharir is a jiva. Okay? So if there's any other question, we can take up. Otherwise, we'll move on.
Thank you, Dipti.
Great. Very good questions. So we will continue now with the topic. Can we see the screen?
Yes, Dipti.
We will read on this. Yeah. So we are on this now. Who is a jiva? Thula Sharira Abhimani Jiva Namakam Brahma Pratibhimbam Bhavati. This Brahma Pratibhimbam. Pratibhimbam, like I said in the last class, is reflection. A reflected being. This one who is in identification with saying, I am this body, I am this name, I am this form, he's called Jiva, and he himself sees. That is a lakshan of Jiva. जीव की बुद्धि कैसी है, जीव की बुद्धि में विचार कैसे हैं, जीव सोचता कैसे है, जो ऐसा सोचता है उसे जीव कहते हैं. कैसा सोचता है? स्वस्मात् ईश्वरम भिन्नत्वेन जानाति. He knows himself as separate from ईश्वर. जिसमें ये बोध है, जो अपने आप को ईश्वर से अलग समझता है, वो जीव है. So in that context, who's qualified, I would say, or who's referred to as a jeev is one who sees this lakshana, and we all identify in it. It's by default. It's like saying over here, what is the purpose of mentioning this pratibhimbam? over here in the image, just seeing the image as the image, you see sunlight, sun, but you see it in the mirror. Pratibimbam. It is seen, that word in is to be taken. Mirror seems to be the adhishthan. In the presence of mirror, sun seems to be in it. For a child, sun will be in it. Do you all remember your childhood first memory of watching television? Anybody remembers? If you remember, what do you remember, Akanksha?
I think, Deepiji, we all thought that all those people were sitting inside that box and, dancing and singing inside that box.
Correct. That everything was happening inside the box. And the fascination was, your neighbor's box, I don't know, I at least ran to see to my neighbor's box, was something else happening in their box? Because it was too much to take that there is in this box so much happening. Where are the people in this box? Where is everything happening in this box? And I knew that my neighbor also had a new television, and I rushed to their place and I would go up and down from my home to their home. Why are there two different things? Is it the same? Will it change after half an hour? Something else will happen? Fascinating. In those days there was only one channel, so it was easy to figure out कि यहाँ पे भी वही हो सकता है और वहाँ पे भी वही कैसे हो सकता है. A very poignant example. How is it possible that in all the TV sets, if the same channel is on, how is it that you're seeing the same thing there? That reflection that seems to be, mirror is the adhishthan of it. Without mirror, you do not see a sun. And when you are seeing the sun, you are seeing the sun in it. The same way, all these walkie-talkies beings around us, all this is like just a gross body. We know that now, it's inert. But there seems to be a reflection of a sense of मैं, ahankar, I, ahankar not in the sense of pride, but the sense of saying, I am there, I exist. That reflection is pratibimba, reflection of consciousness, reflection of chaitanyam. What is the adhishthan here within us? Sukshma Sharir. Why is it the adhishthan? Because it is comprised of sattva, and sattva guna is absolute clarity, purity. So the reflection can be clear, just as in the mirror. This reflection in the mirror can be clear because the mirror is clear. But if the mirror was sullied or broken, the reflection would not be clear. But important thing here, seeing the example is, we believe, now let's start with what we know. We know that the consciousness is expressing here within me. To understand this, I'm taking the help of this example. When you're seeing the sun in it, how will you break the perception? What will be the process? Correct? But how will you break it? What will you do?
Identify the source.
Identify the source. Excellent. You are going to first thing is you will question. ये सन इसके अंदर है, वो सारे लोग टीवी के अंदर हैं, or are they projected on the screen? So the first thing starts with is questioning it. Without questioning it, you can never come to the tracing of it to its source. Because the minute your answer comes, no. The sun doesn't seem to be a part of the mirror because there is another side of the car, same mirror, and the sun is not seen in it. That means This is called Anvaya Vyatireka Nyaya. That means in some part you are seeing the sun, in some part you're not seeing the sun. That means sun doesn't belong to it. That's just one of, you keep eliminating what is not there. By the common source, what is not there, remove it. So if sun is not a part of this, it's a big breakthrough in thinking. Then I must know from where it has come. And if it has come from somewhere, there is a source of it. So with the help of this much idea that it must have a source somewhere for it to be seen here. Now it is only seen here. It is only perceived here. It is only an experience here. That real sun in the mirror is not really a truth. Sun mirror में नहीं है. This is better conveyed in Hindi. Mirror में नहीं है. So when I trace sun to its source, I must find out sun दिख तो रहा है, कहाँ दिखता है, कहाँ से आ रहा है. अगर इसमें नहीं है तो इसके बाहर है कहीं. So where is it? And so with the help of the rays, you trace it to the original sun. And once you see the original sun, what do you get? This is also helpful in Mundaka class. Once you see the original sun, what will you get? You will get the knowledge of sun being reflected in every reflectable image, in every reflectable source. It is possible for it to be reflected in every source, and you will not get deluded ever again that sun belongs to this or not. So the purpose of saying this is Brahma Pratibimbam, equated to here now, the consciousness reflected the Chaitanyam seen, felt, experienced as I am existent. And this is not something that you can shrug off your shoulder. You cannot forget this. You cannot have a no memory of it or expect it to change over time. I am existent is something that doesn't change over time. I am existent is something that remains throughout, changelessly. That notion that I am existent, the consciousness that now is seeming to be here within, is it not true? When I say I'm existent, I'm conscious now. And when you sleep off for a little while, you say, oh, I'm sorry, I slept off. I was not here. Though your body was here, but you still say, I was not here. What does that mean that I was not here? It means that I am not
Mentally present.
I'm not mentally present, as I think two of you are. Suddenly got engaged in conversations. I'm not mentally present, which means I'm conscious, but I'm not here. If I'm not here, where is that consciousness coming from? That tracing it backwards is what he said is Brahma Pratibimbam. I'll just go back one slide. Yes.
Ripiji, can you just repeat the last fragment of the sentence that you said? Because I didn't understand that.
Which one was that?
If I am here, then how do you trace it? Or if I'm not here, then how do you trace it?
Deepti mentally present and absent.
See, when you're conscious here, at the moment your body is here, you're conscious here. But the minute you say I am here, conscious being is implied over here. And then supposing you sleep off or you're distracted somewhere, the notion that I am here is now not there, but I am conscious remains. So mentally you're not here, but the conscious part of it is still felt. Now wherever you are mentally, you're conscious for that perception. This perception is now not, but that conscious remains. Being conscious of that next perception remains. And then now you're back here. So now you're conscious of this again. And that conscious, which you're again conscious of, that conscious, tracing it to its source. But when you see it here as I am conscious, this is the Brahma Pratibhimbam. And one who's identified with this is called Jiva. Sa eva jivaha prakritya swasmat ishwaram bhinnatvena janati. He knows himself only as...
Viji, can I say something?
हाँ जी.
I wanted to ask, जब हम conscious हैं, तब उस time हमें पता है कि हम, if I'm here or if I'm talking to somebody, then I know wherever I'm talking, wherever I'm listening, I'm conscious there. And which is why the other person can also see that this person is Brahma Pratibimba, मतलब उनमें alive, signs of life दिख रहे हैं. But when someone is sleeping, then is that Brahma Pratibimba still, because they're alive, because that prana is on or whatever.
Yeah, correct.
So then also that Brahma Pratibimba is still there.
Yeah, because when they wake up, they say, I slept. So that means it is there. Pratibhimbam is there. One second. Now, I am not here. 1 minute, please.